that one, when you send the files, it'll download 3 files.
Yeah.
One audio only and then one video, and then one of I don't know what the third one is.
Probably both.
No, it does do both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What I was saying is I think it'd just be easier to do a podcast when we can see our faces, just be like the who's talking next, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Hoops United Media Podcast. I'm here with Max Spivey, Sean Patton, and also his twin brother, Bradley Patton, not the lesser nor the greater. And we are the Hoops United Media senior staff writers. This is our staff meeting, doubling as a podcast. You are all here to be a fly on the wall as we talk about the latest in the NBA. So first, we've got the most depressing teams of the NBA season. We each picked one or two to talk about hopeless teams so far. And we've also got one team each that we are quite impressed by. I'm going to swing it over to Max first so we can discuss his picks and tell him why he's wrong.
Well, don't tell me why I'm wrong, but, first things first, my most depressing team. I don't know what's more depressing, the fact that, we're part of a team and you can't say my last name right, with the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles.
Definitely the Lakers.
Oh, yeah, nothing's more depressing than watching the Lakers play basketball when Russell Westbrook's dribbling the ball down court, because he's supposed to be that dude, and he's averaging 19 points on miserable shooting percentages from three and cannot space the floor to save anybody's lives. And the rest of the Lakers offense doesn't seem like they want to be out there. They seem like they want to go grab dinner after the game. They don't care too much about running up and down the court, playing offense and defense. The Lakers have no heart right now. We're playing half-assed everything we do. We're jogging up and down the court. I mean, Reeves is the only guy on the team that looks like he's trying to earn playing time, trying to earn those minutes. He's playing well, but everybody else on this team is sluggish. Dwight Howard looks like a 40-year-old man. I mean, he's 37, but, add a couple of years onto that. He looks terrible right now. DeAndre Jordan's our starting big man, and we got Avery Bradley starting. That's a giant red flag I do say so myself. And we've blown so many leads so far. We've blown a 30-point lead and a 20-point lead, both to the Thunder of all teams, who have, no wins and nobody on the roster. I mean, yes, they're kicking our asses. Granted, LeBron didn't play in those games, but you still don't blow a 30-point lead when Russell Westbrook's your point guard. I mean, I know he loves his Thunder team.
I think there was a point where the Lakers were the Thunder's only 2 wins at one point. That was lovely to watch.
Hey, the Thunder were undefeated with Westbrook on the court this year. I'm just saying, the MVP status right there. Give him another one. But it's just miserable to see this team play right now. It's one of the most depressing things. I mean, the best defense AD's played all season is when he stepped in front of Isaiah Stewart. That's the best defense he's played all year. Just as a team, I'm very ashamed to say that this is my squad.
Okay, well, in the Lakers' defense, Max, to your point about them, I mean, it doesn't seem like they want to be out there. It seems like the Austin Reeves is the only guy that wants to play. I mean, it's probably past a lot of their bedtimes as senior citizens playing late on the West Coast. I mean, you have to give them some credit to at least be out there. But no.
I will say one senior citizen has been playing okay. I will give Carmelo Anthony. I think he's been okay.
It doesn't get the pass on defense. I'm sorry. He's exposed on the defensive end every time down the floor, bro. That's the problem for them.
There's a reason why I said okay. Yeah, I was more just talking about shooting has been pretty solid, but yeah, there's a reason why I said okay. DeAndre Jordan, kind of disappointing, but I also don't know what else you expect. He was cut by the Brooklyn Nets, who were desperate on big men last year. Malik Monk's been okay shooting. He's had a couple real good games, but yeah, it's just hard to find the silver lining right now with the Lakers.
Well, the silver lining, I mean, they are much more talented than almost every other team in the conference. I mean, having 3 guys like Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, even though Russell has been kind of a shell of himself at times this year. That's the silver lining. Just the fact that if they can get out of it and beat teams in a 7-game series just based on pure talent, that's what they have to rely on.
That's true. I kind of got 2 things for the Lakers, my first is just that Russell Westbrook, if you look back at his entire career, he's always averaged 4 to 5 turnovers. But if you think about it, in Washington, he was the number one guy. I mean, obviously with Bradley Beal, but his roles were second, first guy every night. In OKC, or sorry, not in OKC, in Houston and in OKC, he was the first or second guy on every night. Now he's like the third guy every night. He's sharing ball handling duties with plenty of other point guards here, Rajon Rondo, and I just see him still averaging 4.8 turnovers a game, and I'm wondering if that's something that we're supposed to be like a continuation of a trend, or if at this point, like, he's just like, even with the reduced role, he is having more of a fall off in production in the turnover range. My other thing for the Lakers here is that we kind of had them pinned down from the beginning as a team that was probably not going to be competing for a top seed in the West. We kind of knew coming in, like, okay, they're going to try and settle for like a 3 or a 4 seed, and then come playoff time, they'll turn it on. And I'm just wondering if this record that we see now is that mentality kind of translating, because when you don't bring it every night and you don't try and get a win every night, it's very easy to say, oh, we'll just get him on the next one. And I wonder if they've said, let's get him on the next one 10 times, and that's why we're there right now sitting at a 9-10 record.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Because like you said, I mean, there's not many teams that are tanking this year, or even if they are, a lot of them are playing hard, like the Oklahoma City Thunder, as Max mentioned earlier. I mean, there's just not many teams that are trying to lose, especially early in the season. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, you do have to bring it every night.
I'm hurt by all of you guys. I don't think we're not that old, guys. I swear. We have Malik Monk and none. The one thing that I think that is a fair argument for the Lakers right now, we are having to deal with a ton of injuries. LeBron's missed time. THT has missed time. Trevor Ariza hasn't suited up yet. Kendrick Nunn, where is he at? Monk's missed some time. We have not been 100%, and the Lakers have always struggled at wing depth. Even when we won the championship, we didn't have too much wing depth. We have Kent Bazemore right now playing wing. That says that he has the length to play it, but he should not be playing 100% of his minutes right there, and that's what we're unfortunately having to put him at. And it's really frustrating because we're not getting any offensive production from him. The only guy we're getting consistent offensive production from is Melo, and as you guys mentioned, he's getting scored on by everybody and their grandma. So at the end of the day, what are we going to do as a team? I have no idea, and I think it's not too out of the question to say that we finish off barely making the play-in.
Well, that is what happened last year. I can say as a Warriors fan, I know exactly what it's like having Kent Bazemore play for your team. But we're gonna have to see with the Lakers. With some of their pieces, I think Trevor Ariza coming back. I don't think he's gonna move the needle that much. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not too high on Trevor Ariza at this point. THT, we could see, but I think the real test here will be LeBron. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to him.
I think Kendrick Nunn is going to be the X factor.
I disagree.
I don't think you'll like him.
I will like him because I already like him more than Russ, and he hasn't suited up yet. So,
but you also like Russ more before he suited up.
Yeah, so I think,
and that's going to be the same with Kendrick Nunn.
No, I think Kendrick Nunn is going to come in and field the ball perfectly. All three of our point guards are better than Schroeder, so we're okay.
I don't know. He's been balling out for $5 million a night for the Celtics. I feel like that's gotta hurt watching that from LA.
No, it doesn't hurt because they're getting $5 million. We would have paid him $84 million.
Agreed. Yeah, that would have been rough.
All right, so Max, why don't you tell us who your big surprise team was?
So my big surprise has some former Lakers on the roster. The Washington Wizards. They have been one hell of a surprise so far this season. Kyle Kuzma has been balling on and off the court. That pink outfit was bomb. You guys can't hate on that. That shirt was pretty damn cool. If you disagree, we just can't be cool. But
is that why you're wearing the pink hat?
Support my brother Kuzma out here. But they're the 4th seed right now at 11-6, and they're playing like a damn good basketball team. I mean, if you look at Kyle Kuzma, who's been, shitted on his whole career. Oh, he's just that guy. He's not that good. He takes terrible shots. He's a terrible player. Right now, he's nearly averaging a double-double. I mean, he's averaging 13 and 9. He's not doing bad at all whatsoever, especially for his contract worth. I think that he's doing pretty well. Bradley Beal's had a slow start, in my opinion. We're not getting Bradley Beal numbers like we used to. He's averaging 22, 23. I know he's averaging another 25, which we're not used for Bradley Beal because he's only good at scoring. He's the most empty-calorie scorer in the league. I mean, how many times do you have a guy that's going to lead the league in scoring and then you don't know if they're going to make the playoffs or not? I'm not sure. But I do think, he's off to a slow start. But the new additions, Dinwiddie, Montrez, Kuzma, even KCP, who, when he's not shooting well, he can still be a top defender at the guard position. I don't think I think this Wizards team is building a winning culture over there, and I think they're one good superstar away from, being in the conference finals.
I love watching Montrezl Harrell reclaim his place. Last year watching him on like take up a seat on the bench of the Lakers, and he is such a waste of talent. He was definitely one of the, in terms of on the Lakers, that was such a waste of talent. Just having him on a roster where he actually fits this scheme, he can actually make such an impact. And it's so weird because when you look at his skill set, you wouldn't think about it, but it's just when you actually watch the games, you see, wow, okay, this is how he makes an impact in these few ways. And for a team like the Wizards, where they need guys who can make an impact, and there actually is kind of like a wealth of opportunity for some of these players who have not had opportunities before in their careers the way they do now. Washington has been one of my favorite teams to watch, underrated in terms of a league pass, let's say.
No, yeah, I'm very glad you said Montrezl Harrell. Max, I don't know why you talked to Europe about Kyle Kuzma and barely mentioned Montrezl Harrell. He has been the second most valuable player on this team. A backup center has been the second most valuable player on the 4th seed in the East right now because he's averaging 17 and a half a game, 9 rebounds. You can go through the numbers. But when the game changes for them is when that second unit comes in. And they just dominate, especially Montrezl Harrell. In the pick and roll, 8 feet and in, almost everything is automatic. He's one of the top guys in dunks in the NBA, or has one of the most dunks in the NBA. Has a great floater game out of the short roll. And he's got the best best box plus minus on the team at plus 7.4, by far the best on the team. And I'm not going to say he's better than Bradley Beal because I'm not going that far, but you get my point. Montrezl Harrell, Frank Vogel's got to be kicking himself right now for not finding a way to use him better last season or get him involved.
Are we going with Montrezl? Is it Montrez or Montrezl?
Everybody calls him Trez.
I've been so confused about that his whole career.
I think his official name is Montrezl, but everybody just calls him Trez.
There's an L at the end, so I assume Montrezl.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's that's accurate, but everybody just calls him Montrezl.
I'm just gonna call him Trezl.
Trezl? Put some drizzle on that Trezl.
Oh, yep. Oh God, hum baby, now drizzle on Trezl. Stop it.
So I don't want to piggyback off too much. Yeah, Montrezl Harrell has been great. Someone else who I'd like to talk about is Denny Avdia. So he hasn't done much on the stats, but I've seen a lot of things indicating his improvement on defense. And that's going to just a guy who was formerly the 9th pick for them, kind of had a little bit of a rough rookie year. Seeing him take the defensive steps he is. They had him guarding Giannis in their game. He's definitely taking steps on the defensive end. His points per game is practically the same as last year. His shooting numbers, same as last year. But just seeing that improvement on the defensive end, I think it'll help him find a way to get a role on, right now, a top 4 team in the conference.
I agree. It probably was a little bit wrong not to bring up Trezl. I just have a vendetta against him because of how well he performed for us last year. He was a liability on defense 24/7 for us because he could not defend a pick and roll to save his life. And now he wants to show out. So, I'm a little bit against him. And it's only a matter of time before he does get exposed. So I'm not worried about Trezor. I think Dinwiddie's already more valuable than him right now. So
I think there's no question in terms of but that's also a testament to Dinwiddie. Low key, he's really shown, I think, that he can be one of the premier mid-tier point guards in terms of that middle tier of point guard. He is the top of the shelf, and I'm excited to see kind of just the all-around gameness of a Dinwiddie, having that next to a Bradley Beal, where you just have a guy who knows how to play the position. I think that makes such an impact. And we haven't really seen it in the box score, but I just think that seeing, a guy who can set the floor, especially when we have this many tools in the arsenal of the Washington Wizards, I just love to see it. One of my writers kind of came to me about the Wizards, and he wanted to make an article comparing them to the Atlanta Hawks of 2015, 24, the Paul Millsap Hawks. That's the only way I call them. And I had to pump the brakes because I was like, I can't just tell you to run that. That's I don't know if I can agree with that at this point. But I just want to ask you guys, now that I've got you all together, Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, I don't remember the three, Paul Millsap, and Al Horford. Do you see that
DeMar
with this
Carroll.
Wizard? DeMar Carroll. Do you see that with this Wizards team?
No.
I like that Hawks team more.
I got more trust in that Hawks team. This Wizards team has got quite the amount of unproven guys.
Well, I would have to say the same, but I just wanted to see, do you think that by the end of the season that could be their ceiling here?
Yeah, I do believe that. I think that they could eventually reach that level. Just right now, I don't think we've seen it consistently enough out of all the guys to say, hey, they're on that level.
Yeah, I just don't see the talent there. I just don't think they're talented enough.
I think that year Millsap was more talented than anybody on this roster.
Yeah, that Millsap. With Millsap, they had 4 All-Stars.
Yeah, all 4 of those guys made the All-Star team.
And whether you want to debate that they deserve to or not, they still made the All-Star team. And there's not even going to be consideration from this Wizards team, anyone outside of Beal really making the All-Star team. There's just not. There's no one that I could confidently say. Max, do you disagree?
I don't think that they'll be all-stars, but to be fair, the talent in this league has grown tremendously, even since 2015.
Yeah, yes.
The amount of depth that you can go, you're missing 3 of the best point guards. You still have guys that would blow any point guard out the water. I don't think they'll be all-stars, but I do believe come playoff time, they'll be a threat like the Hawks, where I believe that they're a team that you can't take lightly. I think they could even do a little run like the Hawks did last year. I'm not too low on these guys. I don't believe that they're going to be at that level, but I do believe you'll be able to make an argument for them by the end of the year.
Wow, so real quick, Eastern Conference Finals, Max, do you see the Wizards making that?
If the Nets aren't healthy, I like them more than I like the Heat. I'll stand on that argument. Look, here's my argument, right? You can like the Heat all you want. They played terrible when a team figured out how to defend them. Bryn Forbes outscored Jimmy Butler last year, and they got swept. Granted, it was a Bucks team that won the championship, but I don't think you can sit here and say that the Heat are confident favorites to win it all when they got blown out the water last year. You got to have some humility. Like the Lakers, I'm humbled right now. We got shit on the first round.
Hold on. I need to interrupt you for 1 sec. So we're talking about Miami Heat team that has a lot of new talent that wasn't there last year.
Their main guys are still there. Jimmy Butler is still there. Tyler Hero.
You have Kyle Lowry now. You have
I like Kyle Lowry, but you lost Dragic.
PJ Tucker.
You lost Dragic.
Who was on that Bucks team? I'm just saying, there's a lot of new talent. If we want to hold on the pass, we need to go 2 years back when they were in the NBA Finals. If we're holding on to the past like that,
I'm bringing up last year, the recent past. Last time we saw them in the playoffs, their best player got outscored by a rotation player. You can't just blow over that. Yes, they've added talent, but they've also lost some. I do believe that Dragic was that glue guy. Let's be honest with that. He was that Heat culture. And he ain't there no more. I think Lowry's better by how much?
I would say by a good amount. He's just
say a good amount.
Yeah.
Just in terms of very fun for me.
I would say on the defensive end, Goran Dragic can do just so much better, so much more. on the defensive end, Lowry can do more than Dragic. And I think that makes the difference just in terms of the move. I really can't think of a whole lot that Dragic is better than Lowry at. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna interrupt you, Thomas, and say when I was at the Bucks, I was at game 2. Me and Brad went for Miami and Bucks. They got blown. Bryn Forbes went off. Jimmy was practically being relied on that offense to create/score. No one was helping. Kendrick Nunn was shooting step-back threes and airballing. Like, they had no help. Goran Dragic was coming off the bench. He didn't provide the spark that they needed from him. Bam, I don't think was really scoring much. I mean, he also has to have that defensive responsibility with Giannis in that situation. So probably used a lot of energy on defense. But man, they looked desperate for a basket. Tyler Hero wasn't making things. Duncan Robinson wasn't making shots. Like, I don't know what you're going to expect.
Well,
and it's also to your point about stop with the Bryn Forbes outscoring the opponent's best player, because it's a philosophy thing. They were trying to stop Giannis from getting in the paint. They're going to collide. There's a reason why Malcolm Brogdon was a 50, 40, 90 guy when he played on the Bucks. There's a reason why Bobby Portis and Bryn Forbes were 2 of the 4 best three-point shooters in the NBA last season, in the regular season, because that's how teams defend Giannis.
It didn't work too well on Giannis either, because if I'm not mistaken, he was getting 30, 10, and 10.
Well, I'm sure it was still working because he's dominant, but yeah. I mean, that's how they were trying to defend him. They didn't have the personnel at the time.
I'm not saying the Heat aren't great. You can't write off the Wizards like that. I mean, especially with the Wizards looking against. I mean, the Heat look against the Wizards when they played this season. Kyle Lowry was shooting terrible against the Wizards when they played. He was not an impact player when they played.
Regular season.
Yeah, but that's what we have evidence of them playing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's I after watching those two games, not just one. It wasn't like a one-off night. 2 games where they held Lowry to terrible numbers. I don't think it's fair to say that the Wizards have no chance to beat the Heat.
Who is more like that Atlanta Hawks team of yesteryear? Is that the Wizards or the Heat?
The Heat, just for the All-Star matter. I think that's a bit more fair to say.
In terms of talent, would you say the Heat or the
Yes,
Wizards?
proven talent. The Heat have more proven talent, but the thing is with this Wizards roster, I see a bunch of underdogs, and that's what I like to see. I think that they have a potential to really put the league on notice. They haven't done it yet, so I'm not going to say that they are that guy. They are those guys yet, but from what I've seen so far, they're a bunch of underdogs, and I like that.
All right. I wanted to see the We Believe Wizards. We've already seen the We Believe Warriors. Only other W team in the league getting that nickname. It's going to be exciting. Do you want to move on now to the next impressive / not impressive teams right here?
Yeah, so I'm going to go off topic real quick. So how long have we been going so far? So we've been going
20, 30 minutes.
30?
We're going to get it.
Is that right?
No. Yeah.
How long are we planning on doing this pod? Like, because I don't think, with the way we're going right now, I don't think we should make it longer than an hour. What do you guys think, though?
That's true. No,
yeah.
You're right. We can cut out a lot of this, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, we've definitely. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah. I mean, I could be free for like probably another hour or so to do this, and then we can just edit it down after that.
Hey, okay.
Okay.
Does that work for you guys?
For me?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So, John, you want to start us off with your picks?
Yeah, why not? So my disappointment is the Indiana Pacers. They're 8-11 right now. So I mean, just 3 games below 500. I'm just kind of disappointed with the fact that they have a new coach, Rick Carlisle. I would like to see them establish a little bit more of an identity, a little bit more of the go-to aspect. Right now, it's Brogdon, Karis LeVert, Miles Turner and Sabonis. I feel like it's a new player leading the way each game, but in a bad way. I don't think it's been I don't think they are meshing well together. I think if one of them does good, the other will do bad, is kind of the way I think about it. Caruso LeVert especially, it's hard to see him fit with this team. His stats, 14 points per game. He is shooting a – actually, does anyone want to guess what he's shooting from three? Out of 4.5 attempts.
20%.
Less than 30%.
Less than 30? All right. It is less than 30. It is 22%. 22%. That is rough. That is really rough for 4.5 attempts. So,
in how many games?
What?
In how many games?
How many games has he played? He's played. It's a good question. I forgot. Oh, 11.
Fairly small sample size.
Yeah.
I mean, 11's not that small.
Shooting four times.
I mean,
11 games.
How many games have there been really on the year? 20? So he's played half.
Brad judges at the 20 game mark.
My bad, Brad. My bad.
When is it that stats like normalized? What's the mark of games? 20?
Yeah. So they've played about 20. They've played 21 games.
So barely can judge on the stats, I guess, right now.
Or no, 19 games. Sorry.
Brad's waiting for one more game to be played.
But yeah, I don't know.
It is something. You're right. It is something. It is something to look at.
And I don't know. It's just I have a hard time seeing, especially. I mean, Turner and Sabonis keep having to play together, or keep playing together every year, and it's like you see the potential where they could be the best big men duo in the league, with, especially because Turner's really developing a 3-point shot, and Sabonis then could get more of the post, but you're just still waiting for it to happen, and I don't know if anyone else is tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting, though. So that's why they're my biggest disappointment.
As a man who respects Domantas Sabonis enough to get a haircut to look exactly like him, I will have to say that, I mean, I love like just what the Pacers stand for and in terms of what their roster is. And I think Indiana basketball is fun to watch just because they have any home game. And it's always a good crowd. It's always a lot of energy in that stadium. But I do wonder if they're a team in the league that isn't really trying to win. That they kind of are gotten okay with just putting out a team, being mediocre, collecting that paycheck. I know there's a few teams in the league that do that, and you know this roster is it's not a bad one, but every move is a win now move, and it's just like, guys, are we really going to try this again for another? I think this has been like 5 seasons now where they've kind of been this under 500, just barely getting into the playoff team.
No, yeah, I actually am very glad you brought that, especially the word mediocre, because that's what the Pacers are. I think they're okay with that. I think they fill the stands. They're a good team. And I think they're okay with not seeing a second round appearance in the playoffs. I think they're okay with just making playoffs and calling it a day, because every move they made, like you alluded to, I mean, look, they drafted a 24-year-old Chris Duarte. I like him, but like I just mentioned, he's 24 years old, and there's not a lot of upside with him. They also were looking to acquire Eric Gordon this offseason, another win-now move. So we have to just realize, and hiring Rick Carlisle, an older coach who is not going to go to a rebuilding situation. We knew that. So all signs point to they're okay with this. I mean, But do I blame you for being disappointed about it? No, because the last place I think you should be in the NBA is mediocre. But if it works for them, being in a small market, it is harder. Then they
I was
do
just
the
hoping
thing.
for a little bit of life from Rick Carl, like getting that new coach, Rick Carl, been coaching for a long time with success, like been to an NBA championship. Like that's what I was hoping to just get a little spark and just
Rick
something
Carlisle.
out of these guys.
Rick Carlisle is 62 years old. He coached Dallas for 12 years. I just wonder if
All right,
after
he might not have much spark left. Look, that's
retirement age in America is 65. He's 62. Maybe he's just coming thinking like maybe I can just collect 3 more paychecks and get out of here. He already won the championship. It's like, does he really need to win one in Indiana?
I think the most disappointing thing, I think the Pacers are very disappointing, but the most disappointing part of it has been Caris LeVert. He was brought there to be a scoring guy, a team that plays pretty decent. They can play decent defense, especially with Miles Turner up there, who always leads the league in blocks. But Caris LeVert's had one game this year where he shot over 50% from the field. I think that's like a giant red flag right there. When
out of 11 games, Brad.
And he's had one game above 50%. So I think that is crazy, just crazy how disappointing that is, especially when he's there to be that guy. He's not a defender. Everybody knows this. I think even when he was in Brooklyn, I think he was one of the most inefficient scorers there was in the league. But he's just proven it again this year with the Pacers. I don't see that changing at the 20-game mark. I don't think that he's going to get his percentages up there.
You don't think that the injury has played any part in the fact that he's struggling so far?
I would, but it was also
That's the reason for every Pacers player. I keep doing that to myself. Oh, he's coming off an injury. That's like every Pacers player.
KD was coming off an injury.
Okay. out of a starting lineup of Sabonis, Brogdon, Warren, LeVert, and Turner, to me, LeVert is the worst player. He's going to be that 5th guy on the lineup. And I kind of wonder if the inefficient scoring is because he doesn't really know how to fit that role too well yet. It sort of like he doesn't know when his shots should be and shouldn't be coming.
He took 22 shots against the Kings, and
he didn't know where it was coming, probably. But
it is. He's like, well, what am I supposed to be doing now?
I got the ball, shoot it. I'm at half court. All right. No, I do believe that Caris LeVert's just a giant disappointment.
Mother's terrified.
All right.
What's
on a more uplifting note, uplifting. I'm very happy with the Charlotte Hornets, and there is one name specifically who I'm very happy with. And for our viewers who probably turned the volume down a little bit, because I'm going to say Miles Bridges. That's what I'm going to say. Sorry, I had to quote the announcer. I had to. But he has been great, okay? He has been great. So Miles Bridges, he's shooting the ball. He's getting highlight plays. He's getting 20 points per game. He's looking like a great duo for him and LaMelo Ball for the future. Like, I definitely see some life in that team. I think they have gotten a lot of good wins so far. They got Scary Terry still. They got Gordon Hayward. They got all the guys on the Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre dropped 37 last week. Like, they got a lot of solid players, and I've been very impressed with them. I'm very impressed with the way they're playing not the best defense, but if you score more than the other team, you're fine, right? So that's all. That's my biggest upside team or happiness team.
For me, whenever I've ever watched the Hornets, I'm always finding myself impressed by that little man, Ish Smith.
Yes.
I know that he is not going to – I don't think he's the type of player that would ever play for a championship team. Like, he's never going to see minutes in the playoffs. But just seeing that little dude, like, the way he runs up and down the court is amazing to watch. Just like it reminds me, like, oh yeah, speed is still a thing in the NBA. Like we still have players who can be burners, and that can be their signature sort of ability, sort of their niche, and still find a place in the NBA. So I want to just shout out Ish Smith real quick. Most impactful 11 minutes in the NBA.
Yeah. Good job, Ish.
Yeah, I mean, I've been impressed with them too. I did an article on Miles Bridges and his development. I agree with you 100%, Sean. He's a so much better ball handler now. He can finish with either hand around the rim. He's got a great mid-post game now. He's really improved his game to go along with an already talented offensive core. And to their credit, you did mention their defense being bad, and it was atrocious the first 11 games of the year.
11. It's an interesting number. Continue.
So, but since then, Miles Bridges has they've started using more as a small ball 5 as of late. Their numbers are getting better on that end, and they've won 6 of their last 7 games, and a lot of it's because of the improved defense. And now seeing with Miles Bridges moving to the 5, you can see more Cody Martin, who's a real good energy guy for them, and he plays hard. He plays defense. He plays real defense.
Max, what you got for us?
I think Scary Terry is doing great things over there in Charlotte. I think that Michael Jordan did the right thing by signing him and letting Kemba Walker go. I know that sounds crazy. Kemba was great over there, but he played.
I think we all agree there.
I may have said some bad things about it at the time, but that's the past.
Yeah, at the time, everyone was like, "Why would he do that? Why would he pay Rozier, not Kemba?" But it's turned out great for the Hornets. What more is there to say that Scary Terry's kind of, he made that run in the playoffs with the Boston Celtics, and he's bringing some of that playoff experience of being that next guy up to this team. And, you kind of notice that, like, hey, if this guy's not having a great night, next guy up, and they're having great games like that. If LaMelo Ball is not scoring the ball, as great, Terry Rozier comes in and does that. If they need more points, Miles Bridges steps his game up 35 against the Hawks. It's just the next guy up mentality, I think, flows through Charlotte.
Love it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I said, I'm happy with that choice for me.
All right. Should we move on?
Yeah.
All right, Brad, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay, go for it.
So my surprise team, I'd probably say I gotta say I didn't expect this from the Cavs this year. The Cavs have really impressed me, and I know their record isn't phenomenal by any means, 1 game above 500, but I really didn't think this big boy lineup would work with all these 7-footers in this small ball era, but it has worked out really well for them. And they've had a lot of injuries too, with Sexton, with Garland at times, with Chetty Osman, Okoro, Evan Mobley, Lowry Markkanen, Jared Allen's missed a game or two. All their key guys have missed some time, but the culture there, and we just talked about next man up for them. There's a real next man up mentality here in Cleveland, and they play unselfish basketball. They do a really good job of and a lot of credit goes to Ricky Rubio, I think. I think he's done a great job facilitating the offense. I really like how this offense flows, and there's some real pride in this team, and I think they're building a great culture here right now that I did not anticipate seeing.
I was going to pick the Cavs myself, so thank you for doing that. I love seeing Lauri Markkanen at small forward. Just the idea, I don't think anyone ever even thought of trying that. And
the Bulls did a little bit. The Bulls did a little bit.
Bulls did a little bit.
But they didn't do it like the way that the Cavs are. I don't know. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. Well, they also didn't have 2 7-foot shot blockers to pair next to him so that they could make up for his mistakes.
Bulls
there we
weren't
go.
built to play him at the 3.
This is true. Is Jared Allen an all-star this year?
I think you can make a case for him. At the end,
I think he's the best player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Mobley's been good. Ricky Rubio's been really good for them so far. I mean, yeah, you could make a case, though. You could definitely make that case.
I mean, Christian Wood, they were trying to make a case for him last year. If you can make a case for Christian Wood last year, you definitely can make a case for Jared Allen.
There you go. That's true. I don't know. I wish that we could see this team with Colin Sexton, too. I don't know what kind of role he would play. I think it would change a lot of things, but just –
I actually like this team more without Sexton, if I'm being honest. I just think the ball flows so much better. I think Garland gets a lot more opportunity, and I really like the development I've seen from him.
I'm not going to say I like it more, but I am curious to watch it, see how it does.
I mean, I think if it was anybody else but Rubio, it'd be like, no, we need Sexton. But with Rubio being that guy, I think it's like, okay, well, it's not terrible. I can get behind this. I still believe that it would be better with Sexton. I think if you lower his minutes and split with Rubio, I think that's like the best case, because I mean Sexton does do great things for this team.
Sure,
Rubio also just does great things. So it's kind of either way, it's a fun team to watch.
Also, Brad, not to fact check you, but the Cavs are 9-9. They're not one game above. I am only doing this to get back at you.
Yeah. I was confused. I was like, they just won the game. They just finished like 2 seconds ago or something. No, but
they have lost 4 straight. They're 500.
They have lost 4 straight, so that is kind of a question mark.
A lot of that's been injured. I mean, Mobley's been out. They've had their last 3 games were the Nets twice and
Warriors.
And Warriors, thank you.
They pooped on the Nets last year.
Well, I mean, it's still not an easy out. They're the two top teams in the conference. Let's keep in mind.
Well, yeah, no, but I do believe that kind of just is a question mark. You lose 4 straight, you don't know how they're going to come out for the next decent game that they have a chance in. It does something to a team's chemistry.
We'll see.
I mean, yeah.
We'll see if they're battle tested.
Yeah, that's more what I was going to say. That's a good way to put it. See if they're battle tested. Can come off this, take it as energy or motivation to do better, get some wins. I like it. So, Brad, do we want to move towards your other team? Who's your disappointment?
Yeah, my disappointing team, and this is you guys can make fun of me for this all you want. A couple of my MVP pick before the year, I had a dark horse MVP. It was Trae Young, and boy, was I wrong. I could not have been more wrong. In my defense, I didn't expect the rule changes to be so harsh, but yeah, the Hawks have not looked great by any means. And they've been trying to do – I mean, Clint Capella has not looked the same. He's not as physical down low. He's really just – he's not getting the same amount of minutes. He's only playing about – I don't know off the top of my head, but it's less than 30 minutes a game, I know. And they've been playing Collins a lot more at the 5. And it's just not the same team. I mean, it doesn't have that same feel to it. Trae Young is not as dominant as he was. Now that you can't really make some of those, I don't want to say non-basketball plays, but even some of his stuff where he keeps defenders on his back, now they call that an offensive foul if you purposely move to the side. There's things like that now and fall over. Now they're calling those offensive fouls, which I wasn't anticipating. So a lot of little things like that are definitely giving him an adjustment period right now.
I think that of all the culprits, the way that Trae Young played relied on sort of his manipulation of the rules more than I would say even Harden. I don't think that he's less talented, but I do think that the way he played, he knew kind of it was like Harden knew how to get your hand onto his forearm. But Trae Young knows that you're thinking about those rules, and so he can take advantage of what you're thinking in anticipation of what he's trying to do on offense with these foul baiting calls. I think that what's crazy though about the Hawks too is that before the season we were calling them the deepest team in the NBA. And so much of this depth hasn't really shown up yet. I think part of it is due to injury, but also part of it is just due to, I don't know, we there are so many guys in this roster that if they take a step forward, this will be exciting, but we just haven't seen those steps forward yet.
Yeah, my biggest ones, Cam Reddish did take a step a little bit this year.
No, yeah. He's been a lot more consistent, a lot more reliable, definitely, on both ends.
But, I think that's a good example of that. It's tough.
He's the few exceptions of that, because we haven't seen that from Kevin Huerter. We haven't seen that from Bogdan. All those guys. Lou Will, we haven't seen a ton from this year so far as that spark plug. It's just not a dynamic roster right now.
I think the biggest reason is just Clint Capella and Trae Young. Trae Young and James Harden clearly the poster boy for this new rule change, and obviously it's going to be an obstacle to overcome. Granted, Trae Young still had some good games. He destroyed Milwaukee. Nearly had a triple-double against them. So, Trae Young is adapting. I think it's just going to take a little bit longer. I think by the 20-game mark, we'll be able to get a realistic analysis of where this team's at. But I do believe Clint Capella has also taken a giant step back, and that's what I'm really concerned about, because Clint Capella was what made Trae Young work last year.
Huge for them, agreed.
On the defensive side too,
there's a reason why.
I'll go for it.
Oh, sorry, Thomas. I was just saying, there's a reason why they paid him when they had Onyeka as a backup still. There's a reason why they gave him that extension before Onyeka got his injury, but also, and it's because he was so great there for Trae Young. He was the perfect big man for him, and it's just kind of disappointing right now. I've been very disappointed with the Hawks. I can't argue it. I'm just hoping for some. You have so many guys on that team. Danilo Gallinari's even there. We haven't even talked about. There's just so many, solid players. They should be the deepest team in the league. I'm very disappointed.
I was so impressed by the rim protection last year. The John Collins, Clint Capella combo. I was really excited about this. I just looked up their defensive rating. Do you guys want to guess out of 30 where they're sitting right now?
30?
27th.
Okay, well, you got it right in front of you, Brad. Yeah, they're 27.
No, you don't have it on me.
Okay, yeah.
I just know who 30, 29, 28 are.
Oh, okay,
Brad,
fair enough. So, yeah,
wait, Brad, hold on, Brad. Who is 20? Name for us who is those? Who's 28, 29, and 30? And Thomas, we'll see if you're correct.
30 is Memphis. 29's the Hornets, I believe. Am I wrong?
Other blue and white team in the NBA. Or a different one.
Different blue and white team?
A little more south than Charlotte.
Oh.
Pistons?
What? South than Charlotte, bro.
South.
It's the Orlando Magic.
Oh, yeah, come on, Brad.
What's 28th, Brad?
Shane.
What's 28?
What's 28?
Hornets.
No, it's the Pelicans. The Hornets are 22nd. Yeah, they're doing nice.
They are improving.
The difference between the Magic and the Hornets right now is 2 points in defensive rating. There's a very wide margin. Then you've got Memphis Grizzlies at 114.
Yeah.
So they are 3 points worse than the 29th Orlando Magic. But yeah, right now the Atlanta Hawks, what made them dangerous was their defense. You don't have to shut down both the perimeter and the bucket. A lot of teams, their defensive scheme is to stop either the perimeter or taking the paint to themselves. And the Atlanta Hawks, really, their trademark was, we're going to dominate the paint. We're going to let you beat us outside if you can. And I don't think that has been the case this season at all. They've been able to get both, and a lot of their defense has come where it can. But they're not necessarily one of those transition teams in general, but I do think that just having that defensive capability has been quite lacking. So I don't know. We'll have to see when Clint Capella comes, if he's able to come back and put it all together. But for right now, I think that's a great pick for most depressing team.
Yeah. All right, Thomas. What's yours?
Did you give us our impressive?
Oh, my bad. I still got my impressive. Yeah. So who am I impressed with? I gave Cavs.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, I forgot you took my team. I wanted to talk about for most impressive is I don't know. I'm gonna actually end this on the high note, on the impressive note, and I'm gonna give you the story real quick on my most depressing team, because every year, what I love most about the NBA is the history of the league, the culture of it, and every year being able to take these rookies that coming into the league and we compare them with all-time greats and see the trajectories of their careers. So when I had the Toronto Raptors start out 6-3 and Scotty Barnes was doing all these things that Scotty Barnes was doing, I kind of went, oh, here we go. This is our next superstar. No one could have predicted this. It's going to be Scotty Barnes. He's going to take the Toronto Raptors into that play-in tournament, into that 8th seed. And we're going to see him have some sort of MJ moment. This is where my mind went. I was like, he's going to play the Celtics and Larry Bird, and we'll see him put up some sort of performance in April or May. And I was so excited to see this, only for them to fall back to earth. They are now 8-10. So from 6-3, they have had 7 losses over their last 9 games or so. It's been rough, but I want to say that I'm proud of Scotty giving us a little bit of a show when he can, and now we are going to tune into him every once in a while. And the rest of the Raptors team, this is akin to like the Wizards if the Wizards were all 3 years younger, in my opinion.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, you go first, Sean.
All right. To be honest, I'm not going to say I didn't really fall for it. Like, I didn't fall in love with them after their first 9 games. I wasn't, like, set in stone. I thought it was kind of like, oh, cool, you get a good start. But I kind of knew in my head they were going to come back to life, essentially, being closer to the 500 range. It's just hard. Although I have been very impressed with OG Anunoby, 20 points per game. He is my MIP prediction. Not important though at this moment, but yeah, it's hard. I would like to see Goran Dragic play because I don't believe he's really played too many games yet. I'm really interested to see what he brings to the team. Yeah, he's played 5 games for them. So I think once he gets his foot in the ground, I think he could help. I know Max loves Goran Dragic so much, right?
Well, no, I think Dragic is a pretty damn good point guard. He's a very solid point guard. I think when you look in that mid-tier of, guys that you're not mad starting the game for you guys, like obviously they're not going to lead you to a championship, but they can certainly help out. I think Dragic is up there. Like what we mentioned with Dinwiddie, being on top
2
of
years
the middle.
ago.
Dragic can still bring that mentality. He knows how to win.
I feel like Max,
winning culture.
I feel like you're scared of Goran Dragic after you saw him. The only reason that he didn't win in 2020 was because he went down with injury. Only reason.
You're delusional.
If
you agree with that,
time.
if you think that, then Lowry's not much of an upgrade.
All right, touche.
All right then.
Pascal Siakam's been struggling. I think a lot of the players on the Toronto Raptors, it's kind of a weird situation when you have a strong start, I would think, because you're a 6-3 team. However, you're not going to be one of those teams at the end of the season. So I have to think that they've kind of decided to pack it in. I kind of wonder that's why they're not really playing guys like Goran And instead, they're really trying to mix it up with like Zvi and Ken Birch out here getting more minutes than Precious Achua. So we'll have to see how this goes. I wonder if this is one of those more transitionary seasons under Nick Nurse. But Brad or Sean or Max, if you guys have any more comments, I can move it on to the more impressive team.
I just think.
Well,
Scotty
no,
Barnes-
I want to chime in real quick. I mean, yeah, I'm on the same page as Sean was kind of mentioning earlier. I mean, this kind of why if you told me beforehand they would be, what are they, 8-10? You said
Yeah.
8-10. If you told me that before the year, I would. I'd say sounds
damn right.
I mean, yes, they did get off to a strong start, but then we also have to remember Scotty Barnes did get hurt for a little bit, I guess he only missed 2 games. So, but overall, though, I mean, this isn't that talented of a roster. In my opinion, I don't think. I mean, who's their best player? Tell me who's their best player.
Scotty Barnes.
I respectfully disagree, but
I mean, Pascal or Van Fleet is where my head goes, but
yeah, I can't say Pascal. Yeah, I'll say Van Vliet.
I know I don't want to say Pascal, but I feel like I should. I was more like that too.
But yeah, either way, yeah, I mean, if you're trying to win games by playing through Scotty Barnes, I mean, you're not going to beat. I like him, but he's not as talented as he's perceived to be, in my opinion, so far.
I think
As talented, I don't think.
I'm going to disagree with that a little bit. I was more thinking the fact that it's going to be an impossible task for a rookie to lead your team, like in a sort of matter and nowadays to the playoffs. Like it's a very hard task. You're lucky. It's like once every 3 years you'll find a rookie that can impact a team that way. Like from his rookie year. I don't
like
know.
LaMelo.
Yeah.
I don't think Scotty Barnes has the talent to bring a team to the playoffs yet. I do believe he's the most talented rookie out of this draft, and I do believe he's the most talented player on this Raptors roster. Fred VanVleet is incredibly inconsistent. He'll go off for 40 and then 0 the next night. I think he's just too inconsistent, and Siakam has shown this year that he's not that. He can't be that number one guy. I think this is.
I'm just done with his time in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for a change for Siakam. I think you could go with OG, Barnes as your like more of your big men or forwards, however you want to do it. Like
I think Van Fleet's got to go too. Him and Siakam just don't fit that timetable with this roster.
Yeah, I'd agree there. I'd agree. I'd agree. I think they'd be better off just tearing it down, kind of. And unfortunately, Nick Nurse seems like such a good freaking coach that even I don't know if they can truly rebuild, like where they get good draft picks consistently.
They're too good to rebuild. It's a problem.
True.
That's true.
They still trade coaches nowadays.
Yeah, but that's playing a dangerous game. Losing one of the best coaches like that.
Yeah, no. The thing is, it depends how much trust you have in Scotty. If you think Scotty Barnes will eventually lead this team to the playoffs, I believe that he'll be a contributing factor. One of the biggest. I think he'll be a second piece on like a team that goes far to the playoffs, but not for a little bit. And I don't think Nick Nurse is the guy that you want right now during a rebuild. I think if you got him in a couple of years, it'd be perfect. But just like you said, Nick Nurse is not going to lose games. You're not going to get a high draft pick with Nick Nurse, and that's kind of like the dilemma.
They got lucky with 4.
Exactly.
It ain't gonna happen again.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think Nick Nurse is gonna be like the perfect rebuilding coach. So I'm kind of like torn for the Raptors. What direction do you really go in?
What's the lowest seed you think they're going to get? Right now, I'm kind of wondering if they're even going to get into the lottery.
I still think they could. I still think that they could potentially be a play-in team.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
Right now,
play-in or barely miss.
I'm thinking like barely missed the play, and there's more where I'm probably thinking.
Well, they're 8-10 at 12. but the Knicks are 10-8. So there's like a 4-game swing
Yeah,
between them and
yeah.
the 6th seed right now.
There's a lot of teams close. It's a lot of preference who you choose. I'm probably not going to trust the Raptors as much as I would for some of those teams. My two teams who I don't think will make the play-in out of like that tier is like Cavs and Raptors probably.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. Atlanta's just too. Atlanta's still.
I feel like Atlanta's got to play a little better.
You got to think they'll win enough games.
Yeah, I think Atlanta's kind of you got to have them in the playoff picture somehow, some way.
In the play-in at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
it's fair to just say Atlanta's not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So Thomas, who's your other team? Let's end this on a high note.
I wanted to end this. We have talked, I think, about teams that are on the doorstep of the play-in tournament this entire segment. I don't think there's been a single team that's even sniffed contention yet that we've talked about, unless we want to count the Wizards as part of that. Sorry, Max. But for the team that I wanted to pick in terms of the impressiveness, we all knew they were going to be impressive at the start of the season, but the Chicago Bulls have been impressive in the ways that I wanted to see them impress, to where, okay, like maybe I can actually trust the Chicago Bulls. They've cooled off a little bit, but to the start of the season, I remember looking at the defensive rankings. They were 4th in defense, maybe about 8 games into the season, so small sample size. Now they are sitting around 10th, so they have cooled off a little bit. And there's a kind of a 5-point, actually, there's less than a 1-point difference between them and the 4th seed defensive team, which is the Miami Heat. So they're kind of still right in that mix, and I'm excited to see, because of that particular reason, I can actually trust them to be a high finishing seed and not the play-in seed that I was predicting them at the start of the season.
I can't argue that. I've been very impressed with the Bulls. I've loved seeing their defense. They have so many athletic guys on this team. Especially seeing Zach LaVine being able to buy in and just give it his all 100% of the time. Like, it's beautiful to watch.
Well, let's not go that far, but now it's like 90% of the time.
Okay. That's
Isn't this your guys' team here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I've watched every Bulls game so far this year. Yeah. So they've been a lot of fun to watch, obviously.
No, yeah, and to your point with the defense, look, they've had a really tough schedule playing playoff opponents or teams that make the playoffs last year. Like, I believe their last 10 games or so. I don't have the number specifically on me, but I know they have the easiest schedule among all NBA teams the rest of the year. They have the easiest schedule the rest of the way. And I expect that defensive number to go up. I expect them to be a top 6 defense. Alex Caruso has been phenomenal, 2nd in the league in steals, and for a lot of it coming off the bench. Lonzo Ball's instincts, his hands, he's so sharp on rotations. You got athletes, Javonte Green, Derek Jones Jr. And then obviously
DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
When he shoots it, it goes in. You're right, though, about that strength of schedule, though. I was just pulling it up. They get the Jazz and then the 76ers twice with Joel Embiid, then the Nets, then the Mavericks. This is all in a row. Then the Warriors, then the Clippers without of course, and then the Lakers without LeBron.
Lakers without Bron.
But still, that just 7-game stretch. That is incredible.
Was that a 5-game road trip too? There at the end there, West Coast road trip. You have to keep in mind too. So yeah, it was a tough stretch for them. That's a tough stretch in a schedule.
Is that defense? Is that our opponent strength of schedule? Is that playing in who's healthy and who's not?
No, it's just
usually
based on records right now.
Got you. But yeah, they've been one of the more impressive teams so far. I do think that I would be remiss without mentioning that they've had one of the better drafts just in getting Aya DeSema, and just the ways he can impact in really for absolutely no reason. He has absolutely no business being able to impact off the ball the way he is. I did not see that. I did not expect that at all. Evaluating him, trying to watch any sort of tape of him, just the way he's able to run the floor and just kind of be able to be a long body on both offense and defense, absolutely incredible. And the defense of Nikola Vucevic in particular has been something that I've really enjoyed watching, not necessarily because it's pretty, not necessarily because it's something that's going to work 100% of the time, but it works enough to get them to a defensive place where they can feel good about putting him on the floor, where in past years it's kind of been like putting a guy where you're like, all right, let's just hope he scores more than the other center.
No, yeah, now he's not playing so far in the drop coverage. If I had to guess, he studied Nikola Jokic. Not playing so far. He's more in a stance more. He has those hands active. He's done pretty good in creating deflections. I don't have the number on me, but if you looked at it, I'm sure it's improved from years past. Max, what are your thoughts on the Bulls?
I think DeMar DeRozan's revived what was never dead. People want to say that he fell off in his days in San Antonio, and he wasn't that guy. I don't know how he didn't make the All-Star team, whatever. But
I 100% agree. 1,000% agree.
Everybody kind of ripped DeMar DeRozan off when he didn't make the All-Star team, and he was just in San Antonio. It was like, okay, well, he had his chance to win a championship in Toronto. Not anymore. He's shown once again that he's still a top player in this league. It was really disrespectful. Like, even in 2K, they had like an 85. Like, this man has been hated on so much this past year, and he's finally been given a chance to, prove the haters wrong. And he's taken full advantage of this. I think Alex Caruso, I missed the bald eagle, the Caruso, but he's playing amazing for this Bulls squad.
Everyone loves him.
Everybody around the league loves him. But
did you see the article that the Lakers, or he kept trying to go back to the Lakers, like on a 2-year?
Please don't remind me of that.
Deal,
Rob Pelinka is stupid. Look, I'll trade you guys Russ for Alex Caruso straight up right now. But no, it's crazy to see what this Bulls roster is capable of. I mean, Vucevic has even missed a couple games.
And he's missed the last 7.
Yeah, it's been Tony Bradley.
And it's been next out mentality. They're not playing too bad. I mean, granted, they've lost more games without Vucevic, but you wouldn't. I mean, he's proven himself to be an all-star capable level center. So I think just off all that, I think the Bulls are like one of my title favorites.
I think this was floated. I listened to a lot of the JJ Redick podcast, and he said you can make an argument that DeMar DeRozan is the third place on an MVP ballot.
Yeah,
that he wanted to put that guy there, and I was very impressed because I don't think that he gets a lot of respect, especially playing in Chicago. Sort of NBA media they don't love the fact that they kind of tried to sell this narrative that DeMar DeRozan is done, and then now he's not. So it makes them all look really bad. And I kind of want to be a part of the publicity revolution of DeMar DeRozan, where we can go on a campaign and fix this man's legacy real quick.
Yeah. I think I like that. I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Of course you like it. You're a Bulls fan.
It was a good way to. He put it well. He put it well.
And if you really watched his game, you knew he was never done. If you really watched his game.
No, yeah.
I didn't have a lot of spacing.
Even
was no spacing.
His numbers.
And he was asked to play a complementary role. He was asked to. I mean, he averaged over 7 assists a game.
Mm-hmm.
So he was playing with young guys. He had to try to help them develop. He was playing a leadership role, and now he's basically just asked to do what he was doing the 8+ years before that he was in the league.
We also got to talk about my man Zio too. We
have not mentioned him yet.
This man 100% has the highest work ethic in the NBA. He came into this league with the ugliest jump shot I think anybody's ever seen. Now he's a knockdown shooter. He came into this league. I never hated him. I still have his Lakers jersey. I love Zio2 to death. His dad was the only reason that he looked bad when he came into the league.
Agree 100%.
And I think he's
always been very humble.
He knows what he knows how he can benefit this team, and he's doing one hell of a job of it. He knows he's not that guy, but what minutes he's given, what job he's given, he's excelled in everything he's done.
No, they need a guy like that with – I mean, we already mentioned they got 3 All-Stars in Vooch, DeMar, Zach. They would not be as effective if they didn't have a point guard like Zoe, especially. Mm-hmm. And these guys – and they play this style of defense because they have all these athletes. And with Zoe, they're able to just run and run. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they know they'll get the ball because he's always looking up. That's the beauty of the Ball brothers. They're always looking up. And they're so accurate with that full court pass, and it's amazing.
He's the quarterback of this team.
For sure.
Best quarterback in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Can't argue that.
Hey, I want to throw out here real quick the Fire Matt Nagy chants. What's your opinion on that?
Technically, we can't bring them up. It was chanted at the Bulls game.
This is true.
Okay, at the Bulls game, I'm okay with it. At his son's high school football game, that's not good. That's not good.
They should be chanted at my high school games. Fire Nagy. No, I do think Chicago's got a problem if your basketball teams, fans are telling you to do it. But hey, that's just me.
Well, they can't chant "Fire Billy Donovan" after one game, even if they're losing by 33. So I was like, all right, they gotta take out their anger somewhere.
They don't have 3 years of Nagy, so
yeah.
That boy's done.
He's tough.
That boy's done.
Yeah, he's done. He's done.
He should have.
It's just a matter of when.
How do you lose a game when Lamar Jackson's not playing?
Maggie can. All right, should we end this one? I'm Thomas Christian here with Max Spivey, Sean Patton, and Bradley Patton. And this is the HoopsUnitedMedia.com podcast. And we are the senior writers of that podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard tonight or this evening or this afternoon or this morning, please feel free and join our email list, HoopsUnitedMedia.com. Follow us on social media, Twitter at HoopsUnitedMed or Instagram at HoopsUnitedMedia.com. Hum baby.